Hello and thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Naja Atutijani. Remember, you can watch this broadcast live on YouTube and you can follow all our social media handles. President Muhammadu Buhari has tasked graduating cadets of the Nigerian Police Academy to raise the bar of excellence in policing the increasingly complex Nigerian society as today's landscape extends beyond land, sea and air into the vast territories of cyberspace. While throwing the challenge at the passing out parade of the fourth regular course of the Nigeria Police Academy, President Buhari said all acts of crime and criminality must be dealt with decisively. State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports. And that report will come in our subsequent bulletin. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari today in Abuja declared open the 8th ordinary session of the Council of Ministers of Pan-African Agency of the Great Green Wall. The president said African countries must continue to explore various measures to combat climate change and desertification, while also addressing food insecurity and poverty across the continent. The presidential standard-bearer of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, has announced the governor of Delta State, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, as his running mate for the 2023 presidential elections. Timothy Yusuf reports that the choice of Okowa follows the recommendation of the Umar Damagum-led committee set up by the party's National Working Committee to assist in the choice of a running mate. Meanwhile, Dr. Okowa has promised to remain loyal to the party and the candidate. And still on party matters, the People's Redemption Party has presented a certificate of return to the late MKO Abiola's son, Latifu Kolawole Abiola, following his recent victory at the party's presidential primary election. Kolawole Abiola says the PRP is poised to fix Nigeria and calls on Nigerians to collectively support him come 2023. Garba Nata'ala reports.
The certificate of return was handed over to late MKO Abiola's son by the national chairman of the party, among other members that emerged victorious to run for seats at the National and States Assembly as well as governorship positions across the country. Falalu Bello described the party as one indivisible entity that has recorded a milestone and assured Nigerians that the party is capable of moving Nigeria forward.
We are ready to offer leadership at all levels, and we can compete with all parties to give the nation a new lease of life with our candidates, most of whom we are confident will win in free and fair elections.
Latifu Kolawole Abiola promised to perform beyond board in areas of priority.
We are our own borders keepers. We know our people. Go back and look for our old PRP people who are probably in PDP today or APC or whatever party they are. Go and remind them that that same party that you've been loyal to all these 50-odd years has a total rebar, and they should have a rethink and support us.
PRP has so far conducted primary elections at all levels successfully. In Abuja, Garba Nata'ala, NTA News.
As voters prepare for the polls in Ekiti State to elect the next governor come Saturday, the need for a deliberate and holistic approach to upholding the peace accord signed by the respective parties has been re-echoed. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria are optimistic that ensuring a level playing ground will eliminate political violence. Lydia Sampson reports.
Kemi Elubuti Ali of the ADP has made history as the first female governorship candidate to make it to the ballot in Ekiti State, slugging it out with men contenders from other political parties on Saturday. She expressed optimism that her 3-year agenda will give her the voters' mandate. The spokesperson of the one-time governor of Ekiti State, Segun Oni, says Segun's experience and track record will speak for him.
I have served Ekiti State in different capacities. I am the founder of Dominion Group that have impacted lives directly in Ekiti State by paying school fee, by employing people both in public and private sectors. So the passion to serve is why I'm here.
What Segun Oni did when he was governor for 3.5 years, they are still there, they are still visible. People can see it. And so that's why they are saying, look, we want this man back.
For Jide Ojo, a public affairs analyst, the Ekiti governorship election has peculiarities that may play out in addition to the use of the 2022 Electoral Act.
This is the first major elections INEC will be using, in which INEC will be test running the efficiency and efficacy of Electoral 2022. But by and large, it is expected that this election will be very peaceful.
They all are emphatic that a violent-free process devoid of vote buying and selling is critical to enshrining democracy and development of the state. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
And on the security front, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabor, has advised those vying for elective offices in the 2023 general elections to desist from instigating violence, as the military will do everything possible to ensure a peaceful exercise. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that General Irabor gave the counsel during his maiden visit to the bi-weekly news briefing on military operations.
It is the first time the Chief of Defense Staff will be using the platform of the Defense Media Operations to brief journalists. His objective is to provide an update on the operations of troops, especially as the country count down to the general election in 2023.
We will not in any way stand aside and see those who perpetrate violence all because they are looking for political offices. And we're working very closely with the police, and we stand ready to give them all the support that is necessary.
Beyond elections, the prevailing security threat is of great concern.
Our desire is to have every form of incident that will lead to violence and bloodshed to be prevented.
In tackling the evolving security threats, General Irabor advocates an inclusive approach. From the Defense Headquarters in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
For more on Nationwide, let's join Kehinde from Lagos.
Hello, Najato. Glad to have you join us in Lagos. As the fresh ban imposed on the operations of commercial motorcycles in Lagos State survives more days with increase in compliance, residents of the affected areas say crime rate is now on the downward trend. Marco Lale reports.
A typical example of havoc wreaked by commercial motorcycles. While this car owner is still struggling to comprehend the extent of damage done, I asked him to justify the ban on commercial motorcyclists.
I might pray for the before you know, this guy hits me at behind. They are not keeping to law.
Beyond the scenario, navigating through major streets and flashpoints within the Lagos metropolis indicates that compliance is still relatively positive, except for few dispatch riders still found on some roads where compliance is still on. Recent security lapses, which degenerated into violence, especially around here, necessitated enforcement of the new ban. The peaceful atmosphere once enjoyed has returned, and there seems to be calmness in the air.
I don't want government to leave the ban on those people because it saves a lot of lives. As I'm telling you, really now, really everybody, you can move freely at any time.
The dark spot on the seemingly perfect situation here is that residents must adjust their mobility plan to fit into the schedule of shuttle buses, which are the only means of conveyance for those who are not car owners.
That made movement difficult. But there are some areas in this Lekki where buses don't go to. So you have to come down and walk some distance. But I'm sure with time we will get used to it and we'll adapt.
The commendation for the police on the level of enforcement has been encouraging, and this momentum, the public relations officer says, will be sustained.
The enforcement is a continuous process. For those that will impound their motorcycles, fine. They lost it forever. We impounded 130 more motorcyclists.
Ban on the operations of commercial motorcyclists in Lagos is similar to that of a stillborn, defiling the genuineness of a traditionalist. This is the cause since 2007. Various attempts to restrict the operations of commercial motorcyclists ended abruptly at one point of enforcement. This is the fifth imposed since then, and only time will tell if the ban will equally end like the previous ones. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
Thank you, Michael, for that update. As prelude to the compilation of its final report on child's right law in Nigeria, the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs is reviewing indices with the view of assessing the impact of the law in the southwest geopolitical zone of the country. At an event in Lagos, the ministry enjoined states to upscale their performance rate to be at par with Lagos State, which is presently put at 50%. Ruth Peterside reports.
The Child Rights Law 2003 was initiated to protect the well-being of the Nigerian child, especially the right to survival, health, education, and family life, as well as shield children from all forms of violence. Although 28 states of the Federation have so far adopted and begun implementation of the law, children's rights are still being abused on a daily basis. This meeting is therefore to assess effective implementation of the law in the Southwest and review measures in place to prevent further exploitation of children within and outside the homes.
We are here to assess the impact assessment of the Child Rights Act, of how the states have been implementing the Child Rights Act and the effect.
Reports from Lagos, Ekiti, Oyo, Osun and Ogun highlighting significant progress in the implementation of the law were presented and reviewed.
We have a designated unit known as Child Protection Unit that's rescued the children on the street, and what we normally do is when these children are rescued on the street, we ensure that they are put in protective custody of the government.
So far, each of the 6 states in the Southwest has a family court that is guided by the Child Rights Law, and this has made implementation of the law effective. In Lagos, Ruth Peterside, NTA News.
And that's a contribution from Lagos. But do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and all the social media handles displayed on your screen. Nationwide returns after this short break with Najatu in Abuja.
Thanks for staying tuned to Tech Matters now. The Nigeria Startup Bill has received stakeholder support as the Senate subjects it to public scrutiny. The idea is to create an enabling environment for technology through startup ideology, with ICT as a key stimulant. National Assembly correspondent Dayo Gunshola reports.
Youth empowerment and economic liberation are some of the pressing needs among young Nigerians, given the integral role of ICT in stimulating the actualization of these demands. The joint initiative by Nigeria Tech Startup Ecosystem and the Presidency that gave rise to this executive bill is aimed at harnessing the potentials of the nation's digital economy.
When we focus on something like this, it is an opportunity for millions of Nigerian youths who are multi-talented, who are skilled, who are out there looking for opportunities to actually key in.
It is the vehicle aiding businesses and service delivery and the pivot for transformation of economies. In fact, it has become integral to human survival.
Key drivers in the nation's tech ecosystem believe that Nigeria's startup bill holds great potentials for the nation's youth population.
When we talk about startup, it's not just about IT. It is about using IT as an enabler to enhance our existing businesses.
The value of the bill has already been experienced. Just the process of developing the bill has brought certain awareness to what's happening in the ecosystem. It has brought awareness to the people in the ecosystem, understanding that the public sector and the policymakers are important in the interaction that they should have to get the value out of the ecosystem.
When passed into law, the bill is expected to support the aspiration of youths in the area of investments with predictable policy environment. From the National Assembly, Dayo Ogunshola, NTA News.
The Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission, HYPADEC, has decried non-remittance of 10% power generating companies' revenue as provided by the Act establishing the Commission. Abubakar Akwanga reports that this came to the fore at the 6th Council meeting of the Commission.
Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission is a catalyst for building abandoned communities within the fringes of hydropower dams across 6 states of the country. And in line with the provisions of the Act establishing HYPADEC, power generating companies are to pay 10% of revenue generated to the Commission, and this is yet to be met.
We are still working with NDET and the Federal Ministry of Justice to arrive at what is due to HYPADEC from the period that HYPADEC was signed into law. That was 2010 to date.
Chairman of the Council, Joseph Etiaf, says despite paucity of funds, the Commission is up to speed in sustaining delivery of critical infrastructure.
Most of the projects we did the fallout of the enumeration exercise that we did. We required that the health services in most of the communities are very poor, and there are a lot of people who are suffering from health challenges. And that was one of the reasons why we did the medical outreach. Same for the scholarship that was provided, and for the boreholes, the motorcycles, and the tree cutting exercise. The main reason was because of that became a major problem.
HYPADEC says more development plans are underway to meet growing demands of covering communities and adequately build resilience around flashpoint for both mishaps. Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Days after being released by his abductors, HYPADEC board member Isa Uzi Salami is urging government to declare a state of emergency on security, not just in principle, but in approach and strategy. Isa Uzi Salami, a public servant and renowned philanthropist, was kidnapped 2 weeks ago by unidentified gunmen in his hometown, Ogaminana, Kogi Central. Correspondent Solomon Ayedein reports.
Uzi Salami, HYPADEC council member, returns home to family, kinsmen, friends, and well-wishers after 2 weeks in kidnappers' den. It was an atmosphere of thanksgiving and prayers for his safe return and an encouragement not to be deterred in his humanitarian efforts and service to the nation.
That's very close to his God, and he's being loved by people. He should not deviate because of bad people.
So tell the women they don't have to go to the bush anymore because Baba is here with us in good health.
Yuhi Oteyete of Ibira Land and HYPADEC council member Isa Uzi Salami expressed appreciation to Nigerians towards concern during his travels, which he pointed out sustained him.
I would like the security architecture of this country to be reviewed so as to put more premium on survival.
Isa Uzi Salami was kidnapped a day after inaugurating a borehole project at Government Science Secondary School, Ogaminana. Solomon Ayedehi, NTA News.
Maiduguri is next with Abubakar as our guide. Over to you, Abubakar.
It's always good to see you, Naja'atu, and thank you so much for joining us in Maiduguri. Borno State government is set to construct 500 housing units at Logomani village in Gamborungala local government area as part of efforts to resettle the agrarian community dislodged by the Boko Haram insurgency nearly a decade ago. Governor Babagana Umar Zulum undertook assessment tour of the ravaged community, where he interfaced with the displaced residents of the village on their needs, the reconstruction and resettlement effort as normalcy gradually returns to the area. Mohammed Guni completes the story.
Lomani village is one of the communities overrun in the 12 years of Boko Haram insurgency, compelling residents to flee for safety. With the improved security, the state government saw the need to rebuild the village to enable people return to normal life. Governor Bagana Umara interacted with the residents, giving them assurances that government will construct 500 houses in the communities and directed the list of Logomani residents taking refuge in Gamborgala and elsewhere be submitted to him. He assured the community that basic amenities such as boreholes will be provided, while public facilities such as schools will also be rebuilt, adding that 50 civilian JTF in the community will be enlisted to receive monthly allowances and other logistics to complement efforts of the military personnel based there. The governor also stressed need for residents to develop resilience to remain in their ancestral home no matter the rage of external forces. He also interacted with the displaced residents of Gajibo community, where he directed the stakeholders to consult the people on the need to resettle them, as government will not resettle any community without the consent of the people. He added that outcome of their consultation will determine government's next line of action towards rebuilding the ravaged village and re-echoed the need for resilience, as he pledged to hold talks with the military officials on security of the village. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
Away from that now to focus our attention on issues that have to do with humanitarian activities. Children orphaned by the Boko Haram insurgency living on humanitarian aid in internally displaced persons camps have been selected to benefit from a newly established Darul Aitam Integrated Orphans Boarding School built by anonymous donor towards providing free education to orphans. The selected IDP's orphans were presented to the school management by the Director General, State Emergency Management Agency, Yabao Kolo. Here are more details of the story.
Over 50,000 children have been orphaned by the Boko Haram insurgency, a condition that necessitated intervention by government, organizations, and individuals to cater for their well-being and education. The DG Sema Yabao Kolo, while handing over the orphans to the representative of the donor, said government is spending a lot in taking care of orphans, especially their education, saying there is the need for other well-meaning individuals in the society to complement efforts of Borno state government. She explained that the agency has carefully selected the orphans in various camps in the state whose parents were killed during the Boko Haram crisis and presented money for the upkeep of the orphans, with a promise that the agency will make further contributions to complement efforts of the donor. She said the donor has been carrying out such interventions as he has previously sponsored the education of another batch of orphans in Babuji Integrated School. Representative of the donor, Director of Taha Quranic Memorization School, Dr. Mohammed Tijani, said the essence is to provide free education to orphans with state-of-the-art facilities such as hostel accommodation, security, food, and other basic needs, saying the school will accommodate 40 pupils for a start, as SEMA will select 20 orphans from IDP camps, while the remaining 20 will be selected from the host community. Chairman of Shura Council, who is also the special advisor to Governor Zulum, Tijani Gonimodu, commended the DG SEMA for her quick response by selecting orphans to benefit from the scholarship, assuring that all the necessary arrangements have been put in place for the school to commence activities.
If you're just joining us, you're on to Nationwide on the largest television network in Africa, the NTA. Let us at this point return to Naja'atu in Abuja for more reports for us this evening. So, Naja'atu.
Thank you, Abubakar. It's the Day of the African Child, observed on 16th June every year. And to commemorate the 1976 uprising in Soweto, the National Human Rights Commission is using the day to engage stakeholders. to renew the protection and assistance of children affected by harmful practices in Africa. Omenka Marachuku reports.
A lot of children are faced with physical, psychological and human rights abuses, among others. To commemorate the day, National Human Rights Commission is engaging stakeholders on the fight and the rise of incidents of harmful practices against children.
The African Children Charter calls on states to take all appropriate measures to eliminate harmful social and cultural practices affecting the welfare, dignity, normal growth and development of the child.
Those who are survivors of violence, different forms of violence, there are supposed to be rescue centers for them. There are supposed to be some statutory centers where children are held, when they come into contact with the law, when they have special needs.
For the children, they believe it's time for proper legislation on the proper child rights acts.
We are pleading to please play a vital role by enlightening the citizens, campaign them.
They should be encouraged to do the right thing instead of wrong.
The theme of the 2022 African Day Child is Eliminating Harmful Practices Affecting Children, Progress on Policy and Practices since 2013. In Abuja, Omenka Marachuku, NTA News.
More talks on closing education inequalities for children and hard-to-reach communities is at the center of discourse among experts at the 2022 edition of the International Day of the African Child. Abdulmalik Hassan was part of the celebration in Abuja and now reports.
Field, rising stars with bright minds.
Debates, exactly, and I did not see where I get.
Farida Bakari's story is so emotional, but it's a story I have to tell. She never forgets what it's like to be out of school. But with 100 naira per day, she gets to attend school.
After my father's death, I couldn't finish my primary school, so I had to start attending for it again. As I said, and at the next day, I get free uniform, free books.
Victoria's case may even be more emotion-laden. She escaped child marriage.
If not for me, I'm going to not feel like I'm going to have my I'm not taking into live an older family to give me an education that will help me go to generational products and into the future.
But then, we see stories like Faridat and Victoria on the streets daily. Some hawking, some used as child beggars.
If you find public school children hanging around during school hours, make it your business. They are out there because there's no monitoring, there's no guidance, they don't see the value in their education, and I know that young people just need a committed adults in their pathway.
Here comes a big voice, an awareness of the continuing need for improvement of education of the African child. Abdulmalik Hassan, NTA News.
Thank you, Abdul Malik. This is Nationwide. Benin is next with Ogochukwuka.
Atu, and we are reaching you live from our Ekiti State. And now the Independent National Electoral Commission has distributed sensitive materials for the June 18 governorship election in the state. The INEC chairman, Dr. Taylor Adeniro, reiterated determination of the electoral umpire to conduct a free and acceptable election come Saturday. Kola Debobui reports.
Materials distributed include ballot papers, Form EC8A, result sheet, and Form EC8B. Resident Electoral Commissioner, Ekiti State, Dr. Taylor Adeniro stressed the determination of the electoral body to conduct an acceptable election, as the distribution of the sensitive materials will fast-track the electoral process.
And this part of the transparency that we have been embarking upon in the commission. We have the ballot papers, we have the papers, we have the result sheets.
Agents of political parties present at the event expressed confidence over INEC's ability to ensure a free, fair, and credible governorship election in the state.
They even gave us the packing list and gave us the color. Each of the ballot papers per local government. The exercise implies the transparency of the INEC, which they have been carrying on from the start.
With the distribution of sensitive materials to various local governments across the state, the Independent National Electoral Commission is assuring peaceful, credible, and acceptable governorship election come this Saturday in Ekiti. Fala Adibabi, NTA News.
And in less than 48 hours, the people of Ekiti State will go to the polls to elect the candidate of their choice for another 4 years. 16 candidates will be seeking the mandate of the people to become the governor of the state. Ayodeji Ogunshaki takes us through the profile of these candidates.
According to the list released by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), a political scientist and immediate past secretary to the state government, Abayomi Oyebanji, is the candidate of the All Progressive Congress (APC). The standard bearer of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) is Olabisi Kolawole, a former member of the State House of Assembly and a former commissioner in the state. Chief Olusegun Adebayo Oni is the candidate of the Social Democratic Party (SDP). He was a former governor in the state between 2007 and 2010. A businesswoman, Erelu Bisikemi Josephine Elebutiale, is the candidate of the Action Democratic Party (ADP). A lawyer, businessman and politician, Ruben Boye Famuyibo, is the candidate of Accord Party. Oluwole Olumayokun Oluyede is the standard bearer of the African Democratic Party (ADP). And a former commissioner in the state, Adebowale Oluranti Ajayi, is the candidate of the Young Progressive Party (YPP). Out of the 16 candidates, 14 are males, while 2 are females, and they will be jostling for the mandate of Ekiti people come Saturday, June 18. In Ado-Ekiti, Ayodeji Ogunshaki, NTA News.
And Zenred has the next set of reports from Jos, but this will be after the break. Please stay tuned. Thanks for staying with us on Nationwide and welcome to Jos. Governor Simon Bakulalong is seeking immediate intervention of relevant federal government agencies towards assisting victims of fire incident that affected the University of Jos Veterinary Teaching Hospital and environs. This was during his visit to the scene of the petrol tanker fire incident in Jos. Priscilla Grumnan reports.
Governor Simon Lalong, in company of the Deputy Governor and other top government officials, were conducted round the vicinity of the Veterinary Teaching Hospital to ascertain the extent of damage caused by the inferno. Acting General Manager of the Jos Metropolitan Development Board, Kefas Yilwan, tells the governor that the petroleum tanker accident was caused by a brake failure, saying there is need to put in place short and long-term measures to curtail recurrence of such accident. The governor described the incident as unfortunate and assures that he will immediately swing into action to cushion the effect of the incident.
I'm going back immediately to meet the Executive Secretary of TETFON, to meet the Honorable Minister of Education, and also with the university. We will sit down with the university and see what will be the immediate solution, and also now prepare for the long-term solution.
Dean, Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, University of Jos, Professor Lami Longbin, says the institution recorded colossal loss of property and equipment, while the DVC academics, Professor Rahila Gawan, appealed for a total cleanup of the environment. In Jos, Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
Plateau State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency says it arrested and prosecuted 290 suspects for various offences from January to date. State Commander of the agency, Mustafa Yahuza Umar, stated this in Jos while briefing newsmen on the activities of the agency. Grace Akwegotip has details.
The command seized 2,341,946 kilograms, translating to more than 2 tons of hard drugs.
Cannabis sativa accounts for 1,986.603 kilograms. There are other drugs also, psychotropic substances, which consist of pentazocine, tramadol, diazepam, and others.
The commander adds that a woman with 2,500 fake dollars was also arrested and handed over to the police for further investigation.
Grand total of drugs seized by NDLA Plateau State Command from January to date is 2 tons, 341.986 kilograms. In the area of counseling and rehabilitation, 34 male clients were admitted in our rehabilitation center. 25 were successfully rehabilitated and reintegrated back to the society.
While thanking the state government for its assistance to the commander reminded government for the need to fulfill its promise of completing the rehabilitation center for smooth operation. In Jos, Grace Akwegoti, NTA News.
And that's it from Jos. It's back to Naja'atu Tijani for more reports on Nationwide.
Thank you, Zenret. The House of Representatives has mandated the Committee on Army to engage the authorities of the Nigerian Army for the purpose of ascertaining the total number of recruited and trained personnel from 2017 to 2021. This is in response to a motion from Representative Sergius Ogun, who pointed out that the challenge of insecurity has overstretched the armed forces, which he says is a threat to peace and unity in Nigeria. The House noted that in an effort to boost military capacity, the Nigerian Army has in the past 5 years conducted a series of recruitment exercises for persons desiring to be enlisted. Meanwhile, the House has urged the federal government to secure the release of the remaining kidnapped Abuja Kaduna train passengers and other Nigerians being held captive in the country, as raised by Representative Bamidele Salami and 10 other House members. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabor, has identified strong and effective collaboration among security agencies as a key factor in halting security challenges. This was while delivering a lecture to course 8 participants at the Nigerian Air Force War College, Makudi. Moses Ode Ajao completes the report.
Chief of Defense Staff was received by senior officers of the Tactical Air Command and Nigerian War College, Makudi. The lecture titled Management of Joint Operations, the Nigerian Defense Headquarters, is aimed at reorienting the participants on the need for collaborative approach among security agencies in combating the nation's security challenges.
There's a need for them to understand what happens when the 3 services come together to operate in an operational environment.
The defense chief expressed optimism that the security challenges bedeviling the country will soon be a thing of the past. In Makudi, Moses Ajao Udi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Al-Ali Baba, has charged police officers attached to VIPs to carry out their duties with utmost professionalism, respect for fundamental human rights, rule of law, and civility to members of the public in line with the Code of Conduct for Police Officers. A statement by the Force Public Relations Officer, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, indicates that the IGP equally condemns the reported harassment and intimidating posture of some of the officers while on duty with their VIPs. The Inspector General of Police further warns that every allegation of unprofessionalism and harassment by VIP security aides will be properly investigated, and if found wanting, adequate and commensurate sanctions will follow. The police in Anambra State have paraded 35 teenage girls, including 4 pregnant ones, rescued from a hotel at Umu Siome Mpo, Idemili North local government area of the state. Dora Enwe reports that 2 security guards attached to the hotel and other workers were also paraded.
The police operatives attached to the area command Onitsha raided the hotel on June 13, 2022, following a credible information that teenage girls were being used as sex slaves. Police Public Relations Officer Tochukwu Ikenga said efforts are being intensified to apprehend some of the accomplices.
I want to use this platform to show the members of the public for them to always look out for their children.
The teenagers narrated their ordeal in the hands of their employers.
How old are you?
18.
How many months pregnant are you?
2. Is it money for free?
Yes.
300, sometimes 250. But
How many men have slept with you?
31.
You're not in any position.
No, sir. We just stayed there and hustle. We just stayed there and hustle.
You stayed there and hustle?
Yes, sir.
Stay there and hustle.
I'm not the
one that received
those people ran away. I'm not the manager. I'm not the only position. Ask them.
Items recovered include 3 pump actions, bullets, and some amount of money. Meanwhile, they have been handed over to NACTIP for rehabilitation and further investigations. In Onitsha, Dora Enwe, NTA News.
The Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, has tasked the Nigeria Immigration Service to make life easier for Nigerians by eliminating the issue of shortage of passport booklets. This was while decorating the Acting Comptroller General of Immigration, Issa Jere Idris, with the rank of Comptroller General. Victor Azu reports.
It's not gathering of principal actors in the Ministry of Interior, but one of great significance for Acting Comptroller General of Immigration, Issa Jere Idris. Idris was the most senior deputy when former Comptroller General of Immigration, Mohammed Babandede, retired. The mantle of leadership fell on him. 60 in April 2022, the President and Commander-in-Chief approved a one-year extension of tenure for Issa Idris. Now he wears the rank of Comptroller General, even though he will remain Acting Comptroller General of Immigration. But to whom much is given, much more is expected. Idris must now fix the lingering issue of shortage of passport booklets and spare Nigerians.
This process we have on ground is so that there cannot and there must not be a shortage of the booklets for possessing passports for Nigerians. We shall continue to give humanitarian people and areas the passport requirements to maintain the integrity of the system architecture of Nigerian passports.
If words are anything to go by, Nigerians, both home and abroad, must now look towards a future of secure and seamless passport application system. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
The Nigerian Christian Pilgrims Commission has flagged off the 2021 main pilgrimage and 2022 Easter pilgrimage to the Holy Lands of Israel and Jordan. Omenka Marachiku reports that more than 400 have already been airlifted as part of the first batch of pilgrims.
The global coronavirus disrupted the 2021 pilgrimage program. As the pandemic is being contained, Israel and Kingdom of Jordan have opened doors for intending pilgrims all over the world.
We have had time with the pilgrims before now, and also during the screening we always tell them what is expected of them, and that has already been handled.
We expect them to pray for the country. We expect them to comport themselves properly as good ambassadors of the nation. We expect them to behave themselves and know that they are there for a spiritual exercise on a holy duty. First of all, to seek holiness for themselves, for their families and loved ones, and then to pray for our country, Nigeria.
I really want to experience where Jesus, lived, the sand he walked on.
Though about 10,000 pilgrims are expected to embark on the spiritual exercise in the 2021-2022, the pilgrims are to be airlifted in patches. In Abuja, Omenka Marachiku, NTA News.
Still on pilgrimage, the resumption of Hajj operations after the COVID-19 lockdown brought a huge relief to Muslims the world over willing to embark on the spiritual journey. Correspondent Jummai Yusuf examines the unfolding events at the 2022 Hajj exercise.
Thousands of pilgrims from across the world are gradually converging on the sacred city of Medina. The excitement here goes beyond divine call to worship. Rather, it is an expression of gratitude to visit a holy place recommended for every Muslim once in a lifetime. This is Rauda, where the Prophet Muhammad often delivers sermon. Beside are graveyards of the Al-Amin and his closest companions. And Bakia, near the Prophet mosque, abodes the resting place of the martyrs. These are more historic places during the holy period in Medina and seek genuine repentance, spiritual rebirth and intervention for self and the nation. As days pass by, pilgrims develop more thirst to serve Allah and intensify remembrance of Prophet Muhammad, through who the religion of Islam was perfected for mankind. From Medina, Saudi Arabia, Jummai Yusuf, NTA News.
Up next is Sports Update with Chukunonso Wabwezi. Sports Update concludes nationwide. Thanks for watching. I'm Naja Atitijani, reminding you to join NTA's global campaign against rape and rapists.